before you go to see Mother. If you're planning to, be warned that you're going to leave the theater feeling a little unwell. That is absolutely Darren Aronofsky's intention, and although Mother is extraordinarily well crafted, it's downright repulsive. For once, I had no idea what this film was about. Normally I watch too many trailers and read tidbits of information online, but being a big Aronofsky fan, I wanted to be surprised. The film certainly didn't disappoint in that regard. Mother tells the story of Jennifer Lawrence and Javier Bardem's nameless couple, living in a beautiful Victorian house in the middle of nowhere. Bardem is a poet, a creative genius unable to create, Lawrence his overly dedicated lover. Their house was almost destroyed in a fire, years ago, and Lawrence spends her days meticulously restoring it to its former grandeur, while Bardem struggles to write. Their tranquil existence is interrupted by a stranger, a man known as Man. Man is a lifelong fan of Bardem, and is invited to stay in the house, to Lawrence's unease. Soon he is joined by his wife, Woman, who is openly hostile to Lawrence, followed by their feuding sons, and then their extended family and friends. All of the strangers appear to dislike the subdued, patient Lawrence. Her home is her pride and joy, and her uninvited guests seem to delight in damaging it. Bardem, on the other hand, is absolutely adored by the strange strangers, and he adores them right back. He doesn't care about Lawrence's discomfort in the slightest. Mother has an uneasy, Rosemary's Baby vibe. The viewer is infused with the protagonist's paranoia, and the house's growing inhabitants are unknowable, and conspiratorial. They view their hostess the way she views them, as an annoying and unwanted guest. Eventually, the strangers bring violence, murder, and chaos into Lawrence's pristine home, and she is forced to throw them out. But the strangers' presence has invigorated Bardem, and he suddenly finds the energy to both impregnate Lawrence, and finish his magnum opus. His new creative work speaks to the masses in a deeply profound way. Again, they are bombarded with adoring guests, and this time, Lawrence is heavily pregnant. It's at this point that I was intrigued, curious to the point of this bizarre story. But in its final act, the film descends into outrageous violence, as the guests' antics grow from rowdiness into nightmare fuel. The entirety of humanity's greed, selfishness, and suffering is depicted here, and Lawrence faces the brunt of it. It is absolutely horrific, and I'm not convinced that the end justifies the means. When the credits finally roll, it's a relief. The finale gives few answers, and invites further questions. But my wife and I discussed the film's message all the way home, and the following morning after. Few films spark that kind of curiosity, and discussion. Or visceral disgust, for that matter. The film is stuffed with religious symbolism and metaphor, and some of it is pretty on the nose. There's an environmental undertone, which I failed to grasp until later. Personally, I interpreted the story as a kind of critique of God's personality, as the Bible depicts him, narcissistic, hungry for adoration, and heartless. God can also be interpreted as an artist, an auteur, any creator of an admired piece who thinks their work elevates them above the people in their life who care about them. I'm still conflicted. Mother provoked an intense emotional reaction, as great art should, but I can't say I enjoyed it, or even that I would recommend it. The performances are all spectacular, the setting and setup are masterfully unsettling, and the conclusion is intended to disgust. It's not exactly a popcorn movie, let's put it that way. This is Aronofsky's most openly insane work since Pi, a deranged delirium that successfully pulls the viewer into another reality, but when we come back, I'm not sure we learn anything, or feel anything, other than that was intense. I'm going to delve into spoiler territory from here. So if you haven't seen Mother, stop reading now. Alright. So Jennifer Lawrence is Mother Earth. Bardem is obviously God, the creator who loves humanity more than he should, in desperate need of their admiration. Man and woman are Adam and Eve, their warring sons, Cain and Abel. Lawrence and her house are openly abused by humanity, to the point where she is battered senseless by a furious mob, and her newborn son, Jesus, I guess, is murdered and eaten in front of her. Huck. I still can't get over that. I understand that there was a strong environmentalist theme running through here, but I'm not convinced that the message sticks with you. To me, it was the depiction of worship, about how it is a destructive, unhealthy force that pushes mankind into hysterical mob mentality, that really stuck with me. If I wanted to feel guilty about the current state of planet Earth, I'd rather watch a Leonardo DiCaprio documentary. I